I can pick those up as we go along, but I think we're kind of waiting till the end for most of the questions, but pop them in there and I'll get them at the end for sure. One quick thing is I'm going to go through my slideshow, but please don't take any screenshots today. I will give you this presentation, but at the end I'm going to dive out into my live system and actually show you how to set up the meeting and how it works with one of my team members that's in my book. So just no screenshots. I would appreciate that today. So that's it. A little bit about me. I mean, you already heard the quick introduction. I am a MOA agent. I started my MOA Scratch, and now, my Legacy Scratch, and my MOA is about an hour away, so we're pretty good distance apart in Southeast Michigan, but we love it, and we're excited to be in both those territories. I am an APTC agent. That's what's really important on the screen. I'm not trying to brag, but that's that Agency Process and Technology Council that helped bring this stuff, that tested this and helped bring this stuff out to fruition for everybody. So that's kind of cool that we were in the ground level, and that's why I've been talking about this to people since once it was released. I mean, they just encourage us to go out kind of like ambassadors. So really quick on the agenda, what is it? What tools do you need? How do I set it up? And how does the call work? And at the very end, we'll talk about some best practices and tips and maybe a couple tricks. Like anything else, it's not perfect, but when used correctly, it's a powerful, powerful tool. And I hope you guys, if you're not excited about this, I hope you are by the time we're done talking. I mean, we've been asking for this kind of stuff for years, I would think. At least I've been asking for it. The ability to Skype and share your screen, even though it's not Skype, but that kind of utility is amazing. So we did partner. There's been a lot of talk about partnerships, right, with the banks and other outside vendors as well. We did partner with Live Oak Technologies, and with them and State Farm, they came up with this tool, which is way more secure than Skype. So what it is, if you look at Live Oak, it says it's a virtual customer engagement and business platform. Okay, but really what it's not is Zoom, Skype, or other platform. In other words, it's way more secure. It creates a secure hyperlink. The one big difference, and I'll go through this so you don't have to worry too much at this stage yet, is if you have more than one person, you have to send them each an invite unless they're at the same screen. Each screen gets an invite. And again, we'll go over that in a minute. But it is Skype-like, but it's very much, you're not going to get a group of 50 people on this, right? It's really designed for 3 customers or 2 customers or even one-on-one. So I want to take a second and talk about tools. You don't really need any tools. If you have a laptop that has a camera in it, you're good to go. Now, if you dock, which most people with laptops do, or if you have a desktop, you can get this HyperCam HD. It's available on, and again, I'm going to send this out to you guys, but if you just search in the Agents Online Catalog, which I know they moved that link on you guys, but it's out there under Tools on the hub, you can then find this camera. I think it's $30. Don't quote me on that. I bought a bunch of them for my 2 offices, and I gave them out to my team leads and some of my team that's starting to utilize this. It is better. It has a nice microphone in it that picks up better than the laptop microphone. If you want to use it, it's great, but if you want to use your laptop one, that's fine too. But just understand, really, no tools are needed. This is just optional. Yeah, so pretty simple. And, one more thing on that camera. It just plugs in. There's no software. So if you go out and go to Best Buy or whatever you do and you buy your own camera, that's fine. But if it has any kind of software, you're going to have issues. So make sure you get a camera that's plug and play like this one. Just to avoid problems, I would recommend if you're going to get one, just get this one. It's easy. So I'm going to walk you through some slides. These are kind of cut up to fit on my little slide. But again, I'm going to walk you through an actual call in a minute. But the cool thing about this is it's built right in the ECRM, and we're all using ECRM, right? So on the Home tab, if you drop that down, you'll drop down to an option that says Virtual Meetings. And sometimes you got to scroll all the way down, and virtual meetings is down there. Keep in mind, you can edit it and move that up. Notice I've got office selection number 1 because I'm always switching between the offices, and I've got virtual meetings as number 2. Just easy for me to access. When you click on the virtual meeting tab, or the little link there, you're going to get this tab, and you're just really going to hit new. That's it, and it'll help you set up the meeting. Pretty simple. So when I set up the meeting, and again, this is high level right now, I'll go walk you through it. I always put the name and what I'm doing. So John Doe Simple Convo, right? Because if you don't do that, the meetings are going to look like this LOA73789. So you're going to go back to that list, and if you don't have a good description in here, you're going to forget which meeting is which in your meeting dashboard, right? So pro tip, and we'll review that a couple times, I always put the name and what I'm doing in here, and you want to make sure you assign it to the right alias of the person that's conducting the meeting. So this is kind of important if there's any MOA agents out there, because you got to be at the one where you're at, right? Because I have 2. Or if you're a TASP office, that could be an issue. So make sure you're signing it to the other one. There is another weird glitch, which I'll talk about later. When team members are using this, it doesn't always put it on the team member's calendar. It'll put it on your calendar. I'll remind you that later, but it's not insurmountable glitch. And actually, I just reported that as a problem last week, so they may fix it. So once the meeting's set up, it's like it's just like a meeting. Nobody's invited to it yet. You're the only one presenting that meeting. So you have to add a virtual participant, or excuse me, you have to add a participant to your virtual meeting. Doug said, hang on, let me check. Oh, yeah, the cameras. Yeah, I think they're in there, $30. All right. So anyway, you add a participant to the meeting, and then you have to, the customer URL, I put these out of order. So you add a participant, then you have to search. This person has to be in your book. It has to be a customer or a prospect, right? So you could definitely do this with a new customer that you entered into ECRM as a prospect. That's easy enough. It will automatically send the invite to the email that you have in ECRM. So if they want it sent to another email, you have to invite them to that. So it'll automatically populate a URL here or a hyperlink, which you can copy and just send it to any email you want. But remember, if you send it to husband and wife wants to get it at work, you have to add a second participant. Because if he logs in on this hyperlink and she does too, then it'll scuttle the first one. Only one person per one screen per hyperlink. Once that's set up, and again, I will show you how this works. You just join the meeting, and it's that easy. It's just that easy. And this is kind of a mock-up screen. I was having a bad hair day that day, apparently. This is kind of a mock-up screen of when I was sharing with another group. You can see my team member Josh has not signed in this meeting yet. It'll turn green. I'm in this meeting, my camera's showing, and we'll go through what all these buttons do when I do the live call in a second. So I do think we're waiting till the end for most questions, but if anybody, I see there's some chatter about the camera price, so it's confirmed $35. Before I go any farther, does anybody have a question? I mean, this stuff is pretty simple, right? I mean, let's be honest. Out of all the things we do in ECRM, this is pretty straightforward. But does anybody have a question before I move forward? And I'm going to jump out into my live system and try and get Josh on a call so you can see how I share screens and how I utilize it with customer appointments.
Hey, Ben, I know you said it is pretty simple, but I was just curious how many times it took you to kind of feel really confident with it, or how many times it took your team members to feel very confident with it?
That's a great question. It's funny because now people are so used to, and even further on that question, how are the customers confident with it? Like even the, 65 and older crowd. I would say after the first, 4 or 5 times, it's pretty easy, right? And I think we're all using Zoom and other platforms in our daily life with our kids' education, with things like that. So it does get kind of intuitive quickly. But I was shocked at how quickly the older age group adopted it. Like I've got some people in their 60s, 70s that are using this. Yeah, it can be plugged into the USB port on the monitor as long as you've made their monitor USB port live. And your specialist can probably help you with that. Like it's not automatically live. You have to have a USB going from your computer to the monitor. So Tamara asked, what kind of appointment am I using them for most? I'm using them for life and simple conversations mostly. I love being able to show how many times do you send someone a quote on a universal life, and because they couldn't come in and they see or a 10 pay or a limited pay of some kind, and they can't translate those numbers. You can just hear them getting distracted because they don't understand what's going on. You can literally pull it up on the screen, highlight it like they're sitting across the desk from you. I've also used it though for billing issues. Like, look, here's your bill, buddy. You can literally, whatever you can put on your screen, you can share with them. There are some things that you can't do, like health insurance. We'll talk about that, but pretty much anything that's on your screen, you can share. And Ken asked, can you add a participant? You actually can. So you'd have to go back to the meeting and add a participant, and I'll show you again how easy that is in 2 seconds. We're doing really good on time, so it should be good. But I also had one where he was unable to connect for some reason. I don't know if it was on his side or what happened, but I quickly just dove in the dashboard, started a new meeting. It automatically defaults from 5 minutes. And then you do that on purpose, but you can join the meeting early. I just sent him a new link. He picked it up and went right from there. So easy peasy. 60 is younger every day. Yeah, 60 is the new 40, I think, too. I'm 51 now, so yeah, those numbers are creeping up really quick. So, but I love these questions. These are great questions. So I think my team uses it more for, some of them use it to talk about life insurance, right? I obviously have more detail. Well, maybe not obviously. Depends on how your team is set up. But I have the more in-depth, simple conversations, I'd say. And I don't think there's any IPS restrictions, but I am a little careful what I do on that, just because I'm a little cautious, is I guess the word. But I can definitely show them simple stuff. And they use it for, I've heard them use it for billing issues too, and quotes, just walking them through. We went through Michigan no-fault reform this year, which was very complex. We have 11 different PIP options this year, and to go through the forms and show them on your screen what's going on was really a valuable tool. So hope that answered all those questions. That was cool. Let me dive out. Let me see if I can pull up my ECRM here. Josh, are you on?
I am, yes.
Perfect. So I got my team member on here, but you might want to mute your laptop so we don't get any reverberation. But I'm going to go down here to, so I'm going to my home tab, and notice everybody can see my ECRM right now, right? Okay. Nobody?
We can, Ben.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to notice I've moved my Good Neighbor Connect to number 1 position here. And from here, these are virtual meetings I've set up with my MOA alias at my legacy office. So this list isn't very long. And what I'm going to do is just click New. Easy. And I'm going to say JT for Josh Trent. FL demo. So I remember what I did. And then I'm the host, and it defaults to me because that's the one I've done here before, but it's defaulting to my wrong alias, see? So I'm going to do W19 Charlie because I'm here. So it is kind of confusing if you're a multi-office or task because you want to make sure you know where you're at when you set this up for the future. I'm going to set it up for 9:24. Now notice my time zone is not right on this. It shouldn't matter in this case, but that is a glitch. You should go into your current user and select tools and then correct your time zone. For this purpose, it's not going to matter. I'm not going to go through those steps, but have your specialist help you. If this time doesn't look right, because it's defaulting for 5 minutes from now, you need to reset your time zone, okay? So I saved that meeting. So that meeting is just a shell now, right? I have a meeting set up for me in a couple minutes, and I called it JTFL demo. Now I'm going to add Josh. You have to hit this. This is something that sticks in my craw. You hit this, and then you have to hit new again. I don't know why that wasn't just one click, but again, not perfect. And then I'm going to search for Josh D. Trent. Oh. There he is in my Ann Arbor book. I'm going to save this. All right. Now, notice it doesn't show the URL right away. It sets it up so fast it hasn't generated this yet. But on the back end, it's already mailing it to his email, which is in ECRM, and this is his personal Gmail. Okay? Now, what I do here is I just refresh this page. I will do that only because I want to see that URL. And if I want to copy it, and look, it's ugly, right? But you can just copy it right here, send it. Oh, you didn't get it? I'll send it to you directly. It usually works, but I've had people where their spam filter's messed up. Here, let me send it from this, and then you can send it direct, or I can send it to my work one. That happened to me yesterday. He couldn't get it. I had to send it to a different one. The main thing was, though, it was still one screen. I wasn't sending him to a different participant for the meeting. Does that make sense? All right, so the meeting's set up, and everything's ready to go. So when I want to join the meeting, I'm still in the add participant meetings. If I go back to the meeting, so these tabs here, or you could go back to your Good Neighbor Connect, and there's my demo meeting, right? Then all I do is join the meeting. Easy. That's it. And let's see if it works here. All right. Now in this case, I'm going to mute there I am. I'm going to mute my microphone because I don't want sound reverberation. If you think about it, this is a call inside of a call. So you have a moment here. You can switch cameras between my laptop and my high-def camera, and I can toggle each one of those on and off as I see fit. So this is another point, and then there's just an acknowledgement here that says you, in the state of New York, there's some restrictions. It's not for health, and I neglect to say, or U.S. bank products. So you can't use it for those things. You have to acknowledge that. And there I am, live and in charge. I'm the host. Josh is not joined yet. Josh, did you get your email yet?
I have not yet. I keep refreshing.
Yeah,
I'll let you know
sometimes
when I
it
go.
takes a minute. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll go back and I will copy that URL. Of course, you know, when we're trying to do a demo, the internet gods are giving us a hassle with the email. Let's see where I'm at here. And now I lost that meeting within all my tabs. Hold on one second. Where is that tab? So notice when I got out of there, that Live Oak tab kind of got hidden. I had this problem once and I couldn't find it. I couldn't shut off the meeting and they were still talking about me in the background. They didn't shut off their meeting. It was a little tense, but it worked out fine. They were saying mostly good things. Yep, and you can copy the URL. You can text the URL using SF Connect. Sure, you can do it using SF Connect. I'm going to go out to my email and just send it to him. Still haven't got it yet, Josh?
Not quite yet.
Yeah, I'm going to send it to your work one and just forward it to your iPhone. And this is another point while we're here, is you can, on the other side, they don't have to be in a computer. They could be on a tablet, they could be on their iPhone, they can be on their Android phone, and it works really, really well across all platforms. I will say this, if you're giving them a big illustration and they're looking at it on their iPhone, it's not always going to render correctly 100%, but they should be able to get the gist of it. My recommendation is if it's quick and they just want to see your face and have a discussion, fine, iPhone's fine. But if you're having a simple conversation or you're having a life illustration, then you probably want to encourage them to have a bigger screen real estate. So I just sent that to Josh's work email so he could forward it to himself. Tell me that went through, Josh.
That did go through. I'm joining now.
Perfect. And the reason that's important is I can't share a screen until there's a participant. So, and I'll go through these buttons, but how are we doing on time? We're just about out of time, but we're going to quickly do this. All right, now that he's joined, is your camera on so we can see your handsome face?
Should be.
All right, while we're waiting for that to move your mouse a little bit. Like, see how you're right in front of there you go. Notice he has a cursor on the screen. He can point to stuff and ask you about it, but he was right in front of my button. So now I'm going to share a screen real quick. And notice you can share an entire screen. You can then share this screen, which is my presentation. Oh, and there's Josh in my Ann Arbor office. And you could share an application window. You can share a Chrome tab. I just do an entire screen. It's just easier. When I share that screen, you got to click on the actual screen, share it, and then I can bring up, let's say, a Neko screen. I know I got and it shows me a representation, but on his side, Josh, confirm, you can see that as your whole screen.
Correct, yeah, that's all I see. Yep.
Yep. And are you using your iPhone?
I am, yeah.
Right. So, and it's just easier for this demo to use the iPhone. I'm going to quickly share my Neko screen, and you can see my Neko screen now, right?
Correct. Yep.
Perfect. So these buttons, let's just go through them really quick. I'm going to stop sharing my Neko screen. I just want to see. So obviously share a screen is the number one thing I use. You can toggle on and off your camera. You can toggle on and off your microphone. I have it off because I'm on the phone. You can also cycle between cameras again here, so I can switch it to my laptop camera, which is face down in my docking station, so it's going to look black, and then come back. Josh also has a front and back camera on his, so he can cycle between his too. That's it. What I don't use a lot is this upload a file tool. I'm not saying you can't use it. I just don't tend to use it a lot. If I'm going to send them a file, I usually like to email it to them. But what I'm using this tool for is really just the face-to-face interaction, the times when they would normally be across my desk, and for whatever reason, they can't be here. Either they don't want to be here, distance is keeping them away, COVID concerns, whatever else comes up. There was an old joke, how do you build rapport over text? And the answer is you don't, because texts are hard and impersonal and cold. This is the way they can see your face. You can read their body language. It's just an amazing tool. I couldn't be more excited about it. Josh, I think we're done with you unless anybody has any questions. I appreciate you hopping on. I'll see
Hi,
you
Chris.
at the second session. And I'm going to jump out to there. He got off there. Don't forget that tab gets hidden sometimes, and I was hunting and pecking and trying to find where it was, but you got to sign out there when you're done. Just close it out. Oops. Perfect. I'm going to get back to my slide presentation because I got a couple quick things, but we're right at time, really. We went over a couple minutes. I must not have had enough coffee today. Any questions at this point? Just some tips I want to go over then real quick. Again, just some reminders. Make sure I forget that does that. Make sure you're naming your things with the purpose and the customer's name. It'll save you a lot of time later. Make sure you sign it to the right agent and team member. I already told you that it would, it won't put it on that's one thing I want to show you. It won't put it on your team member's calendar. It will put it on the agent's calendar. I'm trying to get them to fix that. Refresh the screen to get the customer URL. If you want to send it, notice it took a while to get it to them, so I just send it manually. And it's also available through the Simple Conversation tab. Don't forget that. You can access the same tool through them. There are some updates that it will automatically send you an email to add this to your Outlook tab now. Let's see if it works for me. I don't see it in there. I think it may have it sent it to my legacy email because he's a legacy client, but it does send an Outlook calendar invite to that. So that's kind of cool. That's a new feature. There is some training out there. It's super State Farm training. You know how that is. But there is some training here. You guys will get this link. Remember, you can't use health. And obviously, U.S. Bank, that's newer since I made this presentation. All right. Does anybody else have any questions or concerns, or is anybody not excited about this? Or better yet, who's used it? Ken asked, do I archive the meeting list after the meeting takes place? That's a great question. That meeting list stays in there, and honestly, I've never thought about how long it stays in there. You noticed there was a list still in there of all the ones I've done in my MOA office with an Ann Arbor client, which wasn't very many, because I'm usually, I don't know, it just hasn't worked out that way. But I am documenting that conversation in ECRM or the Simple Conversation tab, or as a case or task, whatever you're doing for them. So I feel like I'm documenting it that way, but it does appear that list stays in there. I don't think there's an end. I don't know if there's an end to it. Ellie says they're using it and they love it. Ellie, what do you guys use it for? And I know I'm at time, so this will be my last question. She's on mute. I forgot.
She's on mute.
She probably can't type. She probably can't type fast enough. Well, I'm excited other people are out there using it, and I hope you guys, if you haven't, please try it out. Your specialist, you can add them as a prospect to your